21% of the world's fresh water. We are so fortunate, and it makes us unique, and this is an asset that is going to grow more and more valuable as the climate continues to change. But more importantly, we are a state that still has a community full of families that cannot trust the water that's coming out of their taps. I don't care what those lead levels say, what they're pulling out of some taps right now. The vast majority of people in Flint are never going to trust government again, are dealing with the side effects from lead poisoning. And when you are, even what the EPA says is a safe level isn't, because you've been so compromised from the poison that's happened. We owe it to the people of Flint to replace every pipe in that city, inside the home and leading to the home. We owe it to the 8,000 children in Flint who brush their teeth with poison every night for 2.5 years to do right by them and make a lifetime investment in the children so that when they have these hurdles that we can't even anticipate now, the state is there to help them navigate. I want to create a Department of the Great Lakes and Freshwater. I want Michigan to go from world laughingstock and laggard in water policy to a leader in water policy. When the state of Israel's population doubled around World War II, they became the finest stewards of water and science around water management. Michigan's the opposite. We have so much water, we take it for granted. We let companies run pipelines through the Great Lakes. We allow Nestle to take as much water out of the ground as they want. We have algae blooms in inland lakes. It's criminal in my mind that these companies are allowed to profit off of our water when Michiganders don't have access to clean water. And that's why I think we need to create a department that is devoted to water stewardship and oversight to ensure every one of us has access to clean drinking water, to hold companies accountable and to make sure, oh, I'm kind, I didn't even know that. And on day one, as governor, I'm not going to tell you I can shut down Line 5 on day one like some candidates will. But what I can tell you, because there's not a spigot in the governor's office, it's not that simple. We're going to be up against Enbridge, who's got millions and millions of dollars and reasons to fight us on this. But I will file to enjoin their easement on day one, and we will have a legal strategy that is successful so we get the oil out of the Great Lakes.
I'm going to make an executive decision to have some time for this segment. But you go ahead, sir, and you don't feel the pressure.
Thank you. Gretchen, I'm delighted to hear you put so much emphasis on road childhood, something that most of us don't think about every day. I heard a statistic a few years ago, and it's amazing. I want you to absorb it and take advantage of it. The question is, if a child falls behind when they're young, they don't have proper preschool, how long does it take for them to catch up? The answer? Never. Never. So please, take initiative.
Okay. Thank you, Harvey.
Okay, now, start in the back and come back to the way back.
It's an honor to meet you and see you. I have great respect for you. Been a social worker for 35 years. I guess my feeling is that our children are getting caught in the crossfire. And as heartbreaking as it is, they are not number one in our state. They do not come first. We hear about children missing school or being suspended, and I think there's research now finally that there are children that are hungry or haven't had baths, are embarrassed to come to school with dirty clothes. That's something that they do talk with their teachers, they talk with their school social workers. My major concern, though, is the violence and these children getting caught in the middle, and the handguns and all the people having arguments, families having arguments, and children sitting there and watching a uncle or a mother get shot. It's just too easy to get firearms. West Bloomfield, there's a middle school right across the street from a shooting gallery. They sell guns. I've written 2 letters to the superintendent. I don't understand why middle schoolers would be there. There's no metal doors. There's no bars. I don't understand. Our children have to come first, and this violence has to end. That's all I have to say.
Well, thank you for being an advocate for kids. You know, that's what motivates me more than anything is thinking about the kids of Michigan. You know, we've seen a legislature make decisions to steal money from our kids' education. And when they do that, it means there are fewer and fewer supports in the schools for kids, particularly kids who are vulnerable, right? Who have come from homes where there's high stress or violence or substance abuse or mental health issues, you know, that kids where that need those extra supports in our classroom aren't getting them because of continuous raids on the school aid fund. Right now, over $1 billion is taken out of our K-12 system to either fund budget goals or to give tax breaks or to be diverted into pet projects that different legislators have. And it's wrong. Our kids need those supports in school because no child picks what family they're born into. No child decides what school district their family lives in. But that's where we level the playing field, is through strong, adequately funded, and fully supported public schools for our kids. The mentality in Lansing right now is to fight and say that kids don't even have a constitutional right to literacy in this state. Our values are totally screwed up, and they're being dictated by people that are profiting off of this theft, and our kids are paying the price. Now, I know I haven't answered the question about violence in the home, and I understand that's where you're coming from, and I know that economic opportunity and jobs are some of the best things we can do to make sure that people don't have the stresses that often promote that or contribute to it. But I know that a child that has 3 adults that really care about them is set up for success in a way that kids that don't have that support aren't. And often they're the people in our schools, or it's our social workers or our teachers. And that's why I think that wrapping our kids, especially kids in high stress, you know, the ACEs measurements, with those supports, that's what we can do to help these children grow into being healthier adults, live longer, and prosper in their lives here in Michigan.
There is something I can say that kind of tied these two
Maybe it should
issues
be my
together.
running
Okay. But I did my PhD dissertation on homicide mortality. And I studied the data, the national mortality tapes for 275 metropolitan statistical areas. You know what the #1 predictor of a high homicide rate among young men is in a community? Low education. It is not poverty. It is not joblessness. It is low education, the failure to graduate from high school. That is the #1 driver. It just puts everything else, leaves everything else in the dust. And people who don't have the education, they're defensive, they don't know how to resolve disputes, and they're frustrated, they're angry at everybody because they can't make things work for them. I'm going to take the lady in the back, and then I'll go across the aisle, and then we'll come back this way. And I know you had your hand up.
I just want to give a quick shout out to you. You've been a longtime supporter of public education as a state representative and now as a candidate for governor. I am employed by the MEA, and we endorse you. Not only do you support public education, which is a core democratic value, but you also support organized labor. So I want to thank you for that.
I've been a children's librarian in an elementary school for 38 years. I am now retired. It shows in research that if you have a librarian and media specialist in your school, the literacy will go up. And that's what we need. There are very few, when I started 38 years ago, I used to go to conventions and they were filled. Now there are very few at our conventions that may. Detroit, and I've taught in Oak Park, and I've taught in Birmingham. And equity is so important for everyone. And it's just hard to watch. And even with my little ones, my kindergartners getting on the computer in Birmingham and taking a test on a computer and watching them cry because of taking these tests is just so hard to watch. I mean, that's part of the reason I laugh. I mean, I couldn't watch this anymore with the testing and so forth. Between media specialists in the class, in the schools, and the testing issues are just so hard to watch.
Well, and that's the prime example of why we need to listen to educators when we're making education policy. We need to think of families and what's in the best interest of our kids when making education policy. I appreciate the work that you did. I don't think anyone who goes into education is appreciated and thanked as much as they should be, and so I want to say that, but I also want to tell you that when I was in the legislature, you know, we kept changing the start date, just the calendar. And you know who wasn't included in the conversation of when school should start? Educators, parents, children. It was dictated by the tourism industry. And when they needed employees and wanted families to spend money. And while the tourism industry is, you know, something that's an important part of our economy, they shouldn't be driving our education decisions of our children. And so as governor, I will listen to people who know, people who are the experts, and that is the people that are on the front lines, like our librarians and our teachers and our parapros and our social workers, and our MEA.
I'm going to try something a little different.
All right,
I'm
speed
going
dating.
to ask people to stand up and ask their questions, and you just take notes for a few minutes.
Okay,
And then you do those thumbs up.
all right.
Okay? Go ahead, ma'am.
My question, how do we infuse the state with the government necessary to effectuate all the changes that I believe in and you believe in, but when we have a council legislature, and how do we do it?
Great. Revenue. Absolutely.
Two quick labor-related questions. Would you support your campaign staff if they wanted to form a union? And would you support repealing the law that prevents teachers from striking?
I'm one of those people under 30 in politics. So there's a few things that I care about as a millennial, my fiance and my dog and the internet. So Democratic Governor Steve Bullock, he signed an executive order.
Net neutrality.
For net neutrality.
Yep.
Would you sign something similar in
Thank you. Did you have a question too? Go ahead, Regina.
Yeah, I have a question around revenue sharing. Since that's a question about revenue. There have been a lot of comments about education, which I really appreciate. I am on city council here in Oak Park. Back in 2003, we got $24 million from the state's revenue. We now get $3 million. We are the worst state in revenue sharing. We're the ones who fix the roads. We're the ones who pay for public safety. We're the ones who pay for fire. And the reason why a lot of cities are struggling is because we don't have the revenue, and we're the worst state in the country, 50th out of 50 in terms of revenue sharing. So what would you do about that as governor?
Okay, the lady in the black sweater.
Hi, my name is Denise, and I have two questions. One is, what is your position on dairy? And two, what about the money that we're supposed to get from the casinos? I remember when the casinos came in, and I seem to remember hearing some number about each one pulls in roughly $1 million a day. And we were supposed to, the big selling point was that we were going to get money funneled from those casinos into help with our education system. I'm just curious about what happened.
Did you have a question? Back. Okay. This lady, and then I'll go over here.
I want to piggyback on the revenue side of things. At the local level, we're strapped by proposal aid, which makes it impossible for us to raise our own taxes in a place like Huntington Wood. I suppose I'm in the minority because I happen to believe in raising taxes, but we have creating an environment anti-raising taxes. I like what I hear from you, but we have to pay for it, and we've got an environment that says lower taxes, lower taxes, lower taxes. How can we go about initiating the kinds of things you're talking about? I'd kind of like to know what your tax plan is, because we've got to raise the revenue or we can't do anything.
Hi, what will you do to help keep Michigan's economy strong and help people have jobs besides for trying to fix the schools?
Thank you for coming to Oak Park. Most recently, I was a city council member here in Oak Park, but also I was in Lansing. That's where I first got. I remember when we did it there, and here locally and also up there, working with Rudy, I always heard about people that had been past the elementary school or even Head Start, past that. They didn't get the education, but they're in high school now, or either they didn't graduate and they're looking for jobs. They need something, and we never hear about what we're going to do about those individuals. The median age in Detroit and in Michigan is 34, 35. Well, Michigan is 39. And so we have a lot of people that are not employable. They may have barriers. And so I'm interested to know what the government would do for those individuals, a large population of those. Detroit did something, to get those individuals employed. The second question is, would you be willing to do something to incentivize employers to hire people with unique barriers, like incarceration, felonies, et cetera? That has had, big movement in other states, and I think it would be something great for Michigan.
All right, you ready? All right. My notes are a little scribbly, so if I fail to address one thing, let me know. All right. First question was, how are we going to pay for everything that we talk about? Let me tell you this. I served in the legislature for 14 years. A budget is a statement of our priorities. It's not just a balance sheet. In Snyder's first term, I was the Senate Democratic leader. I was the leader of the opposition. He introduced a budget that gave a massive business tax break, and he paid for it by taxing pensions, cutting our kids' education, and trying to eliminate the earned income tax credit. The working poor. That's who paid for it. Kids, retirees, and the working poor paid for the big business tax break that he gave. I remember a superintendent from Ithaca writing to Snyder saying, please declare my school district a prison because we spend $40,000 a year to incarcerate someone and less than $10,000 a year to educate a child. So I'm not saying that everything that we want to do can be contained within the budget that we have, but the budget that we have is a statement of our priorities, and right now it says we care a heck of a lot more about locking people up than educating children in Michigan. The proposal that I put on the table on the infrastructure plan, I hope you will check it out, it's on my website, but it is about building in new revenue to fund about $2 billion toward infrastructure rebuilding. And that draws down $1 billion from the feds. It is the smartest way to leverage the most resources to fixing a problem that we're all paying for anyway. We're paying to fix our cars, $560 a year for the average driver. If you're in Metro Detroit, it's like $860 a year. It is time for us to pay to fix the roads and to do it right, and we will all benefit when we do. What are all the pieces of that? I can't tell you today because I'm going to write that budget after this election, and I'll know what that legislature looks like and what we can really get done. But I will fund it. I will write in new revenue, and I will make sure that the business community pays their fair share to fund it. And if the legislature won't get it done with me, I will go right around them and pass a bond by the people of this state. That's how I'm going to do it. The other piece, which a number of you touched on, was the education piece. How do we fund it? If we just draw a hard line and say no school aid fund dollars are going anywhere but into K-12 schools, we can get almost $1 billion back into our schools. $1 billion. That's going to make some other people that have gotten real, comfortable misusing our kids' money. They're going to be angry, but I don't care. My duty is to make sure that our kids are getting the education that they need, and our educators are getting the support that they need. Unions. Do I support them? Yes. Would I let my people unionize? Yes. What was the other part of your question?
Would you repeal, work to repeal the law forbidding teachers from striking?
You bet I would. All right, 3. My millennial friend who only cares about her dog, her boyfriend, what was the other thing? Okay, net neutrality. You know what, I actually talked to Governor Bullock not long ago, and we talked about exactly this, and that's why as soon as you started talking about Montana, I knew what you were talking about. And absolutely, I think that we can, and I will, sign an executive order to do the same. All right. Revenue sharing. Oy, this is the tough one. Where's my friend from local? Where did you go? Okay. You know, the state of Michigan, hi Robert, thank you for being here. And Senator Vince Gregory is back there too, I should acknowledge before, we all break. We've been shortchanging our local governments for a long time. And on top of it, we've hamstrung you from trying to raise revenue locally. We have to do better than that because it's our public safety that is on the hook here. And so I am committed to living up to the promise of revenue sharing and making sure that you're able to run your government in a way that keeps your citizens safe. I don't have the answer that I'm going to throw on the table today, but I fought for increases in revenue sharing all 14 years that I was in the legislature because I understand how important that is to us protecting our citizens. So that's my commitment. I'm not ready to throw the plan on the table today, but I'm focused on it, and I know that with all of the liabilities that are unfunded right now, we've got to come up with a good solution for local governments.